Our first look at weather now here on WVTT, and we have Hurricane Sandy here in the Twin Tiers are heading in this direction. Overnight tonight, we'll be seeing wind gusts of up to 37 miles per hour. Low temperature 40 degrees, lots of wind, lots of rain, and of course, cloudy conditions because of Sandy, Alexa.
So be careful where you park your car. If there are big trees around, you might not want to park there, just in case they...
Absolutely, good idea. Complete weather details coming up here on WVTT.
Now, WVTT.
Global News Update.
Even before it was set to begin, many Syrians were skeptical that the four-day Eid al-Adha ceasefire would be honored. It turns out the skepticism was warranted. CNN's Mohammed Jamjoon tells us day 3 came and went without the slightest hint that either side plans to stop fighting.
This is what a temporary truce looks like in Syria. Warplanes fly over a Damascus suburb. Aerial bombardment continues, and huge, thick plumes of smoke rise ever higher into the sky. This amateur video cannot be independently verified by CNN, but on Sunday, opposition activists reported numerous casualties on the outskirts of the capital. Day 3 of a shaky ceasefire that began to unravel just hours after it started. It didn't take long for the relative quiet of Friday morning to be completely shattered. In the besieged city of Homs, fierce shelling brought with it more devastation. The early morning hours of Saturday saw a large explosion rock the flashpoint city of Deir ez-Zor. Not long after that came reports that warplanes had taken to the sky once more, this time over the Damascus suburb of Irbin. By Sunday, reports of even more airstrikes. That the Syrian government was pounding opposition stronghold neighborhoods on the outskirts of Damascus. That widespread fighting in a number of flashpoint communities had left dozens more dead. As each side in Syria's brutal civil war accuses the other of violating the terms of the truce, the only thing that's clear is that there's been no cessation of violence, that the fighting on the ground continues as war-weary Syrians have gotten no respite so far during the Eid al-Adha holiday. Mohammed Jamjoon, CNN, Beirut.
A sure sign of Hurricane Sandy's strength may be the effect it has already had, altering the tone of the presidential campaign. CNN's Candy Crowley reports that attention of both candidates has, for now, shifted to the storm.
The beauty of being a president and a candidate is that when a monster storm stalks the East Coast, you can run over to the Federal Emergency Management Agency and be seen as a president on the job, which also works if you're reapplying.
It's so important for us to respond big and respond fast.
The president canceled his campaign trip Tuesday to Colorado, a swing state but far beyond the reach of Hurricane Sandy. Still, his people say the president needs to stay home and monitor things, which one Republican found interesting.
You'll notice he's canceling his trips over the hurricane. He did not cancel his trips over Benghazi.
Both the president and Republican presidential contender Mitt Romney canceled appearances in the weather-threatened swing state of Virginia so as not to chew up resources and otherwise get in the way of storm preparations. But suppose they held an election and the electricity was out.
The State Board of Elections is already planning for extended hours in advance for absentee voting, and it's now a priority, moved up to the same level of hospitals and police stations to have power restored.
And what about states where the polls are open? The state of Maryland has already canceled early voting on Monday. What these storm-driven timeouts will mean for the election even stumps master politicos.
So obviously, we want unfettered access to the polls because we believe that the more people come out, the better we're going to do. And so to the extent that it makes it harder, that's a source of concern. But I don't know how all the politics will sort out.
Which brings us to the Romney-Ryan ticket. They are not in power, can't really do much, but still have to pay attention.
I know that right now some people in the country are a little nervous about a storm about to hit the coast, and our thoughts and prayers are with the people who will find themselves in harm's way.
Just the forecast of a potential disaster can make politics look small. So far, the Romney campaign has stopped fundraising emails into affected states, made a campaign bus available for relief efforts, started taking up collections in campaign offices, and put up a blog with weather-related advice. And the itinerary may change. Optics are tricky, said one top Republican, who adds the Romney schedule may change depending on what the storm does. A disaster somewhere would make campaigning anywhere difficult. Mixing politics and weather is to double down on the unknown. Candy Crowley, CNN, Washington.
In New Jersey and elsewhere, some people already evacuating their homes due to Hurricane Sandy. But in one New Jersey home, it's not just people, it's pets that are in danger as well. Michael Holmes has a report from a storm shelter in New Jersey.
We're in the city of Toms River. It's in New Jersey. It's 95 miles south of New York City, 65 miles to the east of Philadelphia. And about 5 miles that way are the barrier islands. And those people on those barrier islands are worried. And a lot of them are coming here. I'm going to talk now to Red Cross official Antonia. Thanks so much for chatting with us. Tell us about the setup here. Who's here? Why?
Many of them have animals. We have about 60 crates with cats and dogs, which is great that we could help them out. You know, people love their animals.
Now, how many people are you going to be able to cater for here?
Well, right now, we have 181 people.
Right.
So we can hold, we're probably expecting 250. It depends tomorrow.
How worried are people in this community?
Very worried. I mean, after Irene, and that was a year ago, this is huge.
Now, among the 181 people who are here in this shelter so far is one Michelle Frances. Thanks for joining us. Tell me what happened. How did you end up here?
We had a mandatory evacuation in Ocean Gate, New Jersey, and having been displaced and relocated here last year, I knew that I would be safe and sound. I knew that they would have facilities for my pet, very accommodating. And
this does look like a big storm. How concerned were you about it?
I'm very concerned. When I see the map and I see that, you know, Toms River's on the map and they're targeting it, I'm nervous. Yeah. I'm very nervous, but I think that I'm in good hands here. I think I'm safe.
I think you are too. Now Michelle just mentioned there that she's brought a pet here. This shelter is pet friendly, and in fact we're going to go in and have a look at what they're doing in the back room.
We have dogs, cats, birds, and a couple of hermit crabs.
The cops came around and they were like, if you don't leave, you're going to be arrested. And so I was like, yeah, time to go. And so I had to find a place that allowed me to have my animals because I wasn't leaving them behind. Everybody was like, oh, they're animals. Leave a window open. If anything gets bad, they'll climb out. They'll find their way out. No way. You know, but I had 4 of these little guys, and so I wasn't leaving them behind.
Dogs, birds, and kittens, as well as people, all hunkering down to ride out Hurricane Sandy. Michael Holmes, CNN, Toms River, New Jersey.
Coming up on the 6 o'clock report, the once and future World Series champion Giants. Also straight ahead, complete weather coverage of Hurricane Sandy. Stay tuned. This is the 6 o'clock report on News Channel 25 WVTT.